see a big group of riders roll past you on the highway, leather vests, loud pipes, big patches on their backs. Your brain instantly goes to one word: gang. But here's the thing, that reaction is usually wrong. Most riders, and even a lot of bikers, look at a patch and think they all mean the same thing. They don't. Not even close. If you see a patch on the highway, do you actually know what you're looking at? Because in the club world, those colors are not fashion. They're a contract with rules, structure, and history behind them. Today, we're breaking down the real difference between 1% and 99% motorcycle clubs, how to read a patch, and the code that quietly governs this entire world so you don't ride blind around it. Let's start with the number everybody throws around, but very few can actually explain: 1%. You've probably heard people say, he's a 1%er, like it automatically means criminal. The story behind that patch is a bit more specific. Decades ago, after some very public trouble involving bikers, the American Motorcyclists Association was widely reported as saying something along the lines of 99% of motorcyclists are law-abiding citizens. The exact wording gets debated, but the idea stuck. A handful of clubs heard that and basically said, cool, we're the other 1%. They took that label, flipped it, and turned it into an identity. That's where the 1% diamond patch comes from. It's not random. It's a statement. We're outside your system. We don't play by your rules. We have our own. Now here's the part most people miss. A true 1% club isn't just a group of riders who like to party hard. These clubs are structured, territorial, and very serious about their name. They often operate outside traditional motorcycle associations. They don't ask permission from mainstream groups, and they usually claim a defined area as their territory. On the other side, you've got the 99%. That's the vast majority of riders and clubs. These are your riding clubs, social clubs, veteran groups, charity-focused organizations, faith-based clubs, brand-specific crews. They also wear patches, they also have structure, but they're not claiming that outlaw identity. They're not flying a 1% diamond, and they typically work within broader motorcycle community guidelines to avoid conflict. So how do you tell the difference when you're just looking at someone's back from across a gas station lot? Look at a few key things. First, the 1% diamond itself. It's usually a small diamond-shaped patch with 1% stitched inside. Not all outlaw clubs wear it openly, but if you see that diamond, that's a clear signal. Second, the overall patch layout. A classic three-piece MC back patch has a top rocker with the club name, a center patch with the logo, and a bottom rocker with territory or state. You'll often see 1% clubs running that full three-piece setup with a territory clearly stated. Some 99% clubs also run three-piece patches, but they'll usually be recognized and approved in their region to keep the piece third, colors, and wording. Certain color combinations and names are strongly associated with specific established clubs. I'm not naming any here out of respect, but if you ride long enough, you start to recognize who's who in your area. Now here's where location really matters more than people realize. In a lot of places, especially where club culture is strong, territory is a big deal. That bottom rocker, the one that says a state, city, or region, isn't just decoration. It's a claim. When a 1% club claims a bottom rocker over a state, they're saying, this is our area, we run here. Other clubs in that region usually respect that by not copying that territory or style. Most 99% clubs avoid direct conflict by using different wording, maybe nation, original, or a specific chapter name instead of just the raw state name. Or they register and communicate with existing clubs to make sure they're not stepping on toes. You might never see those conversations, but they happen. Another big misconception is that outlaw automatically means constantly committing crimes. In reality, it means they're not recognized by, or don't participate under, the traditional motorcycle association's rules. Does that mean some 1% clubs or members have serious criminal records? In some cases, yes. Law enforcement certainly sees some of them as organized crime, but that doesn't mean every person wearing a patch is running around breaking the law 24/7. Day to day, a lot of it is about brotherhood, identity, and power inside their own world, more than anything to do with you. Here's something else people get wrong. They think structure only exists in 1% clubs. In reality, both 1% and 99% clubs usually have a clear hierarchy. You'll see titles like president, vice president, sergeant at arms, road captain, secretary, treasurer. In a serious club, those aren't vanity labels. They're jobs. The road captain plans and controls rides. The sergeant at arms deals with discipline and security. The president represents the club and makes final calls after listening to the table. The difference is often how tightly that structure ties into territory and reputation. In a 1% environment, disrespecting that hierarchy or that patch can have real consequences. In a 99% social club, you'll still find discipline and expectations, but the focus is more on riding, events, and community than enforcing dominance over an area. If you remember nothing else about this numbers game, remember this. 1% is an identity tied to being outside the accepted system and often territorial. 99% is everyone else, still serious about brotherhood, but usually not claiming that outlaw stance. Understanding that difference doesn't just make you sound smart at bike night, it helps you move through the motorcycle world with a lot more awareness and respect, which is what keeps everybody riding in peace. Now that you get the basic difference between 1% and 99%, let's talk about something way more practical. How you act around any club, anywhere. Because here's the truth. You don't need to be scared of patches, but you do need to respect them. There's a universal code in the motorcycle world, and if you follow it, you'll almost never have problems. Rule number one, and this is non-negotiable. You never ever touch another rider's vest, patch, or bike without permission. That vest isn't just clothing, it's earned for a lot of club members. That cut represents years of loyalty, family sacrifices, and sometimes real danger. Grabbing it, tugging it, or jokingly trying it on is like grabbing someone's national flag or yanking their rank off their uniform. It's personal. Same thing with bikes. You might think, man, that thing is beautiful, and want to lean on it for a photo or sit on it for a second. Don't. If you wouldn't walk up and lean on a stranger's car while they're standing there, don't do it to their bike, especially if they're wearing colors. Next, let's talk hierarchy and respect. In most serious clubs, both 1% and 99%, there's a chain of command. When you see a group together, you're often looking at a mix of full members, prospects, and officers. If you end up talking with them at a gas station or bike night, it's smart to pay attention to who's actually in charge. If a president or sergeant at arms is speaking, you don't interrupt, you don't talk over them, and you don't try to dominate the conversation. You don't need to act scared or weird. Just be normal, polite, and direct. Look people in the eye, shake hands if it feels right, and use common sense. If you're asked a question, answer it straight. If you're told something like, hey, we need this parking spot, or we roll out first, arguing isn't going to earn you any points. Now patch positions and symbols. You don't have to become an expert, but a little awareness helps. Generally, a large back patch is the main identity of the club's smaller patches on the front. Things like president, original, veteran, or a road name tell you about the person's role or history. A president or prez patch means that's the chapter leader. Sergeant at arms is the one responsible for security and discipline. Prospect usually means someone who's in the trial phase, not a full member yet. Here's the key. If you're going to ask about patches, be respectful. Don't point at a symbol and say, what does that skull mean? Are you guys criminals? A better way is, hey man, I'm still learning about club stuff. Mind if I ask what that patch stands for? Give them the option to explain or not. So how do you interact safely and respectfully on the road? If a big pack of patch riders comes up behind you, the polite move is to hold your line, signal, and let them pass as a group if they're clearly moving faster. Don't jump into the middle of their formation unless you were invited to ride with them. Cutting a pack in half or weaving through their formation is seen as disrespectful and dangerous. Same thing at fuel stops. If a club rolls in together and obviously wants to park as a group, don't slide your bike into the middle of their line just to be close to the action. Give them space. You can still be nearby, still say hi, but let them control their setup. Most of the time, if you show basic courtesy, club members will treat you like any other rider, maybe even better. because you clearly get it. What happens if you break these unwritten rules? Most of the time, if it's obvious you're clueless and not acting like a smartass, you'll get a warning or a conversation, not a fist. Something like, hey brother, don't park there, or don't touch that cut. Take the correction, apologize if it fits, and move on. The fastest way to turn a small issue into a big one is to get defensive, start mouthing off, or act like you know better. Where people get into real trouble is when alcohol, ego, and disrespect mix together. You walk into a bar, you start talking trash about a patch, you shove someone in colors, or you brag about not being scared of any club. That's when situations can escalate in ways you really don't want. The smartest play is simple. Treat every rider with respect, but give a little extra awareness to anyone flying colors. You don't have to bow down, you don't have to pretend they're movie villains, and you definitely don't have to join them. You just move in your lane, they move in theirs, and everyone goes home on two wheels instead of in the back of a car. If you remember nothing else about the unwritten rules, remember this. Don't touch the vest, don't cut through formations, and don't let ego do the talking. Respect in, respect back. The price of brotherhood. What earning colors really takes so far? We've talked about what patches mean and how to act around them. Now let's talk about something most people never see. What it actually takes to earn those colors in the first place. Because this is another huge misconception. A lot of non-riders think you just walk into a shop, buy a vest, slap on some patches, and boom, you're in a club. In serious clubs, both 1% and 99%, it doesn't work like that at all. There's usually a path. Hang around, prospect, then, if you make it, full patch. As a hang-around, you're just that, around. You ride with them, show up to events, and everyone quietly figures out if you fit. Do you show up on time? Do you ride safely? Do you run your mouth? Do you bring drama? Nobody's going to hand you a checklist, but you're being watched. If that goes well and both sides want to go further, you might be asked to prospect. This is where it gets serious. The prospect phase is basically a long, rolling job interview mixed with a loyalty test. You still have your own life, but the club starts coming first. Rides, meetings, events, late-night calls. You might be the one getting fuel, making calls, watching bikes while everyone's inside, running errands. It's not hazing in the movie sense. It's proving that you're dependable and that you'll put the patch before your ego. This is the part the media rarely shows. They like the fights, the drama, the headlines. What they don't show is someone working a full-time job, taking care of family, then still putting on their cut and riding 3 hours to stand security in the rain because their brothers asked. That's the grind side of club life. Here's the key difference between buying gear and earning your place. Anybody with a credit card can buy a leather vest that looks tough, but you can't swipe your way into true brotherhood. In a real club, every patch on that vest represents time, miles, and sacrifices the outside world doesn't see. So why do people do it? Why do riders sign up for that level of commitment? For a lot of them, it's about something deeper than just riding. It's belonging. It's knowing that if your bike breaks down at 2 a.m., 3 states away, you're not calling a tow truck first. You're calling your club. It's funerals, weddings, hospital visits, kids' birthdays, charity runs, and late-night phone calls when life falls apart. You'll hear words like brotherhood thrown around a lot, but inside a serious club that's not marketing, that's the point. Whether it's a 1% patch or a family-oriented 99% club, the people who stick with it usually stay because of the humans wearing the colors, not the colors themselves. If you remember one thing about earning colors, make it this. The vest is the visible part. The price is everything you did that nobody saw. So that's the real difference. 1% clubs claim that outlaw, territorial identity. 99% clubs don't, but both run on respect, structure, and commitment. If this helped you see patches in a new way, hit subscribe for more straight talk motorcycle content. And if you want to go deeper into riding skills that actually keep you alive out there, check out the next video queued up right now.